Do you think UFOs, the paranormal, weird history, cryptozoology, and outsider art are pretty darn cool? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to High Strangeness with your host, Steve Berg.
The video version. Well, hello, my friends. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of High Strangeness. Today, I got my good buddy back on, Joseph Matheny. Joseph, how are you doing, friend?
I didn't do it. Oh, wait, no. I'm good.
Well, I don't know. You might have.
I usually do. I usually do.
Yeah, you usually are the one who doesn't.
When I was in high school, I was one of these 5 people that the principal would just like call our names out over the intercom. When something had gone down, but he wasn't sure who had done it, he called these 5 people, please come to the office. And he was...
You were a likely suspect.
He was quite sure, and he was usually right that one of us did it.
Yeah. Well, you know, you are one of the usual suspects for having done it.
Yeah.
So
But that's okay.
Yeah, it is. And I take that as a compliment. You're on people's minds. You're being effective.
You know, I was a fucking terror in high school. I admit it.
Were you?
Yeah, you know, I talked to a couple of my high school teachers afterwards, years later.
Right.
And my Mrs. Camp, she's like, you were really bright, and I love the stories you wrote, and I even kept some of them as examples for my future students. But yeah, you were a little nightmare.
That's the fun kind of nightmare. Like, I was a real smart-ass class clown kind of goof
Me
off.
too. That's exactly.
It's better than being a bully. You know, there's two kinds of problem. There's a multitude of problematic kids. There's the bully who like makes life miserable for people. Who, you know, when you get older, you obviously know like, may have some problems at home, and he was probably bullied. You know, hurt people. But I feel like class clowns and like little like minor disruptors like that are good.
Well,
I identify
do
with
too.
those people.
Tricksters, you know.
Tricksters.
That's who we are.
That's exactly right. That's our archetype.
we don't have a choice.
we just are. We can try to change it, but they can't extract all of it from us.
Yeah, you try it once or twice, and you're like, that doesn't work.
Nah.
I'm profoundly unhappy, so no, that's not gonna work.
Exactly. Well,
my teachers are all like, we enjoyed you as a student. You were never rude to me.
Mm-hmm.
The couple of teachers said you were never rude to me, but you were disruptive.
Yeah.
You know, and you had this thing about doing pranks, and I'm like, and then I knew she had me. I'm like, you knew that was me?
I wasn't as tricky, as slick as I thought I was.
She's like, yeah, you were smart enough not to get caught, but we knew.
We knew.
Like, so I was talked about in the teachers' lounge. Oh yeah, I'm like, I guess
I know that little shit did it, but you know
exactly.
But he hides the evidence so well.
If I ever catch him,
he doesn't leave that breadcrumb trail. My man. Well, it is autumn. It is early November, and I know you are a man like myself who likes to garden, who likes to grow. How has harvest season been for you?
Oh, you know, this early spring, when I was putting I have a little plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little farm, and I usually dedicate a section of it to grow fresh vegetables for the food bank, community food bank. And this year I had this suspicion, so I went to all my little yeoman farmer buddies, as I call them.
Yeah.
You little yeoman farmers. And I said, we should grow extra this year. I got this feeling that it's going to be needed.
Yes.
And sure enough, here we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew, extra, a lot of extra. So I ended up I tried to pick nutrient-dense foods.
Smart.
And foods that lasted a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I did potatoes.
Yep.
I did carrots, and I did beets.
Okay. Root vegetables. Beautiful.
Yeah, I did 300 pounds extra of beets.
Damn.
And 100 extra pounds of carrots, and 200 pounds of potatoes.
Wow, that is a huge haul.
Yeah, it was a big haul. Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible.
But those are easy to grow. It's like basically you put them in the ground, you keep them wet.
And do those if because I've never grown a root vegetable, but like those don't take a ton of water, right?
Well, it depends. Yeah, not a ton of water. So it's not like it's not as thirsty as like corn.
Right.
And definitely not as thirsty as almonds.
Right. Yeah.
Those which I know in California we used to grow a lot of those, and they used to take a lot of fucking water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mediocre on the water, but my little farm is like right on a creek, like literally right on a creek. So I just cut some, diversions,
right,
and water pretty regularly. And
so you kind of create your own like little irrigation.
My own little irrigation, yeah.
You smart cookie. That is wonderful, and you're using the land to. Oh my god! Well, I love this.
Yeah, so I grow for myself. Of course, I love corn. I love like corn on the cob, and so I grow a lot of corn on the cob and beans. I do a method called Three Sisters.
Okay.
Where you do corn, beans, and squash on a mound.
Yes.
And you plant them together, and they all actually work as a small ecosystem. So they do like 3 times better when they grow together than if you grow them separately in a row.
Right.
Yeah, so I highly recommend it because I get massive amounts of corn, massive amounts of beans. Oh my god! If I saw another green bean this year, I was gonna go nuts.
In the Midwest, that's what zucchini is. Like zucchini it's like a weed here in the Midwest.
Yeah,
You plant one zucchini plant and you'll get like 1,000, and everyone's just trying to. It's like this rotating bag of people like literally like my neighbor. I'll be like bringing over zucchini to my neighbors, and they'll be trying to give me theirs, and it's like,
yeah.
But I mean, I like it, and then by August, I'm like, Jesus, I can't do it anymore.
Exactly. My friends were just like, don't bring any more green beans over. I'm like, okay. Guess I'll put them in the freezer.
Yeah, that's great though. Oh, I love garden success stories. This makes me very happy, and I love that you're using the creek to irrigate it.
Yeah. Why not?
That's inspiring.
I happen to live in a place. I moved this far north for one specific reason. As somebody who lived in Southern California and experienced fire after fire after fire almost every damn year.
Yeah.
I said I'm going to go north where the water originates.
Yes.
And where it's cooler.
Yeah.
And I've been here for almost 10 years, and I'm not unhappy about it at all.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I'm not sure if actually the region you're in would be considered the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a more lush, beautiful, good vibe region in the lower 48, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I live in a valley that's called the Emerald Valley.
Oh.
And the reason it's called the Emerald Valley because it's green.
Oh, yeah.
Like everywhere. And so I'm surrounded by ancient forest.
Oh, yes.
And the whole valley is like the one place in Oregon where they grow all the food. All the food is grown here. All the wineries are here. Like this is it. This is the place where you grow stuff in Oregon. This is it. And I'm right in the middle of it.
Well, Oregon has great wine. In fact, like the way climate change is going, like I was reading, and I don't typically read a wine magazine, but it was left over on a flight about a year ago. But this guy who's like a vintner, I guess they call him. He's not a sommelier, a vintner. He was saying that that's just the way it's going to go. Upstate New York is going to be where all the great reds are, and Oregon and Washington are already taking over.
Yeah.
For like Chardonnays and Sauvignon Blancs and stuff like that. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sauvignon Blanc, and
me too.
The Sauvignon Blanc that they grow here is amazing.
It is. It's incredible.
I used to live in Santa Barbara, and so the vineyards there made a very good Sauvignon Blanc, but the ones here are just as good.
Yep, and in Central Valley, it's just becoming harder and harder. Like they're having more and more problems.
Yeah.
Getting the big hauls of wine, but and California still has great wine. I'm not saying that, but just the way the climate is trending, I think it's going to change.
Valley has a fire every year now.
Yeah,
a big one.
Yeah,
and so that taints the grapes.
Yeah,
you get the ashy taste. And you can't,
and for years after, right?
Oh, like it just ruins them for years.
Damn, that's not great. Well,
if it doesn't just burn the vines to the ground,
Right. This brings me up kind of my first like little entree into the weird, where like I love Oregon. My grandparents are from Oregon. I grew up going to Oregon once a year my whole life.
Cool.
And there's one thing I know about Oregon, and obviously people think of Bigfoot and crypto creatures and whatnot.
Yeah.
But Oregon in the Pacific Northwest is really weird. There is a lot of like really great folklore and just wonderful UFO stories, Bigfoot stories, occult, theme stories. Is there any like kind of like folklore or stories or symptoms of high strangeness that you find fascinating kind of in the area you are in?
Well, because I live right in the middle of the forest, so to speak, the big tree forest, Bigfoot is on everybody's mind all the time. In fact, my gym has a giant Bigfoot mural on the wall.
I mean, that's just beautiful.
The local beverage and snack distributor here, Bigfoot. That's what it's called, Bigfoot. Yes. It's like everywhere you look, something is Bigfoot branded, right?
It's like truly part of the culture.
It's part of the culture. It's 100% part of the culture. And so when you talk to people that have been here for a long time, they will just not like when you meet people usually in other parts of the country and they want to tell you like a weird story, they're almost ashamed or like,
right,
wary to tell you because they're afraid you're gonna laugh
crazy,
at them.
But this is what some people think.
Exactly. You might think I'm crazy, but
yeah.
Here they're just like, well, Bigfoot over there. It's like he's like your neighbor.
I love. See,
he's just a member of the community.
Right. Well, I mean, look. I mean, this is one of my crazy ideas. I have this feeling, which I have no evidence, Joseph, at all, but that sometimes folklore becomes real if enough people believe in it. And
yeah.
Is put on it.
Yeah.
And like Bigfoot is the perfect example where it's like truly an American like folk hero at this point.
Oh yeah. And the native people, the Native American people, the first Americans, First Nation, will tell you that this entity is a protector of the land.
Yeah.
That literally he's the protector.
Right.
That's why he's here. And if you say things like, well, I've heard Bigfoot has a language. Of course he does. I've heard that he can shift in and out of this reality. Of course he can. Like not a beat is missed when you talk to them about this.
Right.
Whereas even people I know that think Bigfoot might be real, in quotes, if you say something like that to them, they'll be like, well,
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, who are we to say like, well, they're wrong? I'm like, where's their evidence? It's like they don't give a shit about producing evidence for like dudes like us.
No.
Like, and also there are things in this world that you can't produce. That sometimes science does a good job of explaining like what something is to the least, and then it's like mysticism and even religion that is asking the deeper questions. And I feel like when it comes to this stuff, it's like, science can get you far, but not all the way, maybe.
Well, there's so many layers to this stuff. It's like, Bigfoot is something we realize and something that we map onto this phenomenon, maybe. Just like some people see little green men and flying saucers, and some people see fae, and some people see other things, critters in a lake. Whatever that may be, because there's lots of them, I guess. Almost every major lake in the United States or around the world has a creature that's associated with it.
Right.
And so when you start to like really take that in and realize like, well, I remember I started reading UFO stuff when I was in the 5th grade. I was an avid reader. I was one of those people that was like 3 grades ahead of his reading level.
Right.
And I would just like devour this shit, And it was in the 70s, so it was all coming out new again.
And it was the good shit too in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then I ran across Passport to Magonia.
Oh yeah.
And it blew the top of my head off. I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And even 5th grade me, like, this makes so much sense. It's like, of course, it's a phenomena that goes through a filter of like what the person needs to see to understand or to relate. Not even understand, relate.
That's a great way of putting it, by the way. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. That needs to relate. I love that. Let me write that down, actually.
It's well, you know, if you worked with these entities, we'll call them, you realize that they tap into the subconscious level of the human mind where dream logic resides.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we get absurd by design behavior.
Yep.
You know, it's where coyote comes from.
Yes.
It's like, I'm a trickster because I'm talking to you on a level that's below your conscious mind, where your weird dreams come from, which do make sense on a level, but just not the everyday conscious left brain rational level. You know,
right?
It's like William Burroughs said. Everybody thought he was being funny, but like, exterminate all rational thought. He was talking about get to that level.
Yeah.
Like, strip off all this bullshit.
Right.
Am I using too much profanity for your podcast?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Strip away all this stuff, which is, you know, generally dictated by capitalist mechanistic culture, you know, for lack of a better terminology.
Couldn't agree more.
And get back to that, you know, level of dream language, dream symbology. You know, like, that's what we know. That's the language of the shamans, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's why we go into the dark caves and have our moments.
Right.
It's like all these things, because we're trying to get back to that.
Right.
Because out here every day, like just keeping up with the Joneses, or like even just like keeping your head above water on the planet, it's like you get deconditioned, you get conditioned to forget about those things.
Yep.
And you know, that's why we have shaman or had shamans, and we still do sort of. But you know, in the Paleolithic days, we would pick a guy who was really good at that.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, look, we can't all do that all the time because we'd probably starve to death if we did.
Right.
But you're really good at it, so you're going to go sit in the cave and then come tell us what the cave said.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
And like, yeah, and I love that how valued those people were. You know, like, it was like, yeah, you are a key component of our survival. Like, you know, like in a way.
Exactly.
I think it's amazing. And going back to Burroughs is such an interesting person, because I feel like there's people who like know about Burroughs and the wonderful, you know, Junkie and the Naked Lunch and some of his.
Yeah.
Even like the I have a couple books that are just like 1,000-page books full of his interviews, and his interviews are kind of my favorite thing. But like, Burroughs was a full-on occultist.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, people, like, I mean, I think that gets brushed away because a lot of people who, like, from the literary world don't love talking about that stuff because it makes them seem less serious. But he was a guy who called up Whitley Strieber in the 80s, like, he's like, can I come stay at your cabin for a week?
Yeah.
And Whitley Strieber, who was an author, was like, oh my God, I can't believe William S. Burroughs is calling me. Sure, come on up. But you know, he had William, or Reich's, William, you know, Oregon. William Reich, or William, he had an orgone chamber on his property in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yep.
So he was the real deal. He was one of us. He was a true, like, you know, true weirdo.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I had a long distance phone relationship with him for a while.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. So Genesis Peorage.
Sure.
Who was a friend of mine.
You knew Genesis.
Yeah. So when Genesis left England and came to the Bay Area in San Francisco, I can't even remember. Somebody put us together. I honestly can't remember who, but we ended up hanging out a lot. He lived in Casadero, and I used to go out there and hang at his house.
Right.
And so we were working together, and I was talking about the stuff that I was doing with cut-ups.
Yeah.
And I was automating cut-ups through AI and all the stuff that I was doing in the 90s. And Jen said, you should talk to William. And I'm like, William who? And he's like, Burroughs? He's like, who do you think? And I'm like, well, yeah, if I knew him. He's like, here's his number. Just gave me his number. And he said, this number gets his bedroom. So he had a phone at the front desk, which was Grauerholz, I think, manned that phone. which was basically the cock blocking phone.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh no, Bill's not here, you know?
Yeah.
And then another phone number that like rang into Bill's bedroom. And he said, when he picks it up, tell him that I gave you the number. I'm like, okay. And so that happened. And then so like, I never met him in the person, but we talked on the phone, 6 or 8 times. And I talked to him about the experiments I was doing with using, at the time, this was the early 90s, I was using rudimentary AI, which compared to nowadays, it's nothing, but back then it was a big thing. And using it to manage cut-ups.
Right.
And I told him what I was doing.
Do you mind, in case I feel like a lot of listeners will know what the cut-up is?
Yeah.
I'm a super big nerd for cut-ups, but maybe together we could explain what the cut-up method is.
Yeah.
Just so people can understand what we're saying. But like,
as
far as I know, like it was a artistic expression invented sort of by Brian Geisen, who was
no,
it was not Geisen.
Carried on by Geisen, but the person that really, I think, if you want to say somebody invented it, I'd say it was Chitan Sarza, the Dadaist.
Okay. Yes.
He used to do cut up poems.
Yep.
So he would cut up a book, put it in a hat, draw it, and sit there and draw it out and read and call it a poem, right?
Right.
So technically, I'd say that he originated using it artistically.
Right.
And then Geisen was cutting some mats because he did collage work.
Yep.
Brian did a lot of collage work.
Yep.
And he was cutting mats with a mat knife, and he had newspaper underneath it to keep from cutting the table up. And then he noticed all these cut up words underneath, and he's like, huh, and like kind of like we did those refrigerator magnets.
Sure,
with the words.
Rearrange the words, the sentences. Yeah. Absolutely.
So and then Bill came over, and he's like, Bill, look at this, and the two of them like, huh, and like they fell down a rabbit hole.
Yes.
Which later became the Third Mind experiments.
Yep.
But yeah, they Bill went Brian kind of played with it and then moved on.
Yeah.
But Burroughs just fell down the hole, man.
Yes, he's
like, I'm gonna do a whole novel, and he did several actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the cut up period where he did Naked Lunch, and he did the Ticket That Exploded, and there was 3 books where he just basically cut everything to hell, right?
Right. Yeah, and I remember in an interview with him, he was saying it's literary magic, and I don't mean I don't mean soft magic. He's like, I'm changing reality. What's the cut up?
He basically, I think what he said was, when you cut into the present, the future leaks out.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
that was his statement.
But I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry. Back. I just thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So basically, that's the origin of how it got to ended up on Burroughs' lap, and then he just utilized the hell out of it because he was a master.
Yeah.
But I looked at that and I'm like, oh, okay. Then I started playing with cut up, and then at the time I was working in the computer industry, working with computers a lot as an artist, and I said, can I put all these words in a database and come up with a way to randomize what I'm pulling out of that and reassemble it over here and just do it all on a computer, so I don't have to cut things up with an X-Acto knife.
Right.
And I was able to do that. And I was talking to Bill about how I was doing that and what I was doing. And so it was it ended up being this thing that looked like a technological Rube Goldberg machine that I built. And so it was doing cut ups, and I was interjecting where the workflow, the process would come back and say, now you need to do this, and I would pick one of either roll some dice, pick the number, or draw a card, or something where the human interface was used in it,
right?
And then come back and input that the output of that I would input into the machine, and then it would move on to the next level. And so I would do this multi-phase cut up where I was to me, in working with the cut ups, what I recognized was the more random it was, the more magical it seemed to be, the output. And so I was trying to introduce randomicity into the workflow, right? And I'm using workflow just, because that's what you say in computing language. But I was introducing randomicity into the workflow, and how many random jumps can I do? Random jump or reorder, random jump, reorder, and what am I going to get on the end, right? And then Bill basically listened to me, and he wasn't big on computers, but he wasn't stupid.
Right.
I mean, in fact, his family was the Burroughs Adding Machine family, so yeah. So
true. My God, yeah.
He knew a few things.
Yeah.
And so he listened to me, and then he would he would query me, and then he would come back, and eventually he said, "I think what you're doing is the same thing Brian and I were doing, but kind of for the next generation."
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I felt like the Pope went like this.
Well, but it truly is, because they were using it in a kind of an analog fashion. It sounds like you were doing. It's like, you're like, cool. I love the methodology, the spirit behind it, and I'm going to now use technology with it.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a question I want to ask you, and there's no better person in the world, I don't think, to ask than you. But like, obviously, AI is on everyone's mind, and blah blah blah. It's almost becoming annoying to even say those two letters. But do you think there is, like, here's the dumb example I'll give you, but like, let's say, like, I don't know a ton about like rituals and magic, but like, because, and this is going to show how naive I am, but like the Babylon working, that's just a famous one I know. It's but like, if you took like a working like that, like a very complicated ritual, whether it's Enochian magic or whatever, and you had AI run it, like in some way, like, or if you had technology run it like a million times simultaneously, like, do you think because it lacks the human component, it would be ineffective, or do you think this is something that people are going to start playing with and it could be effective?
People have already played with it. So as far back as 1993 or 94, I was in a class with Ralph Abraham.
Okay.
And Ralph was very interested in John Dee.
Okay.
And so, and he and I were friends, and we have mutual friends, and so he found out through mutual friends that I was into John Dee, so he called me up and invited me to this class he was doing, basically teaching the history of John Dee and Enochian and all these types of things, and how they fit into the evolution of modern mathematics. Because Dee, as well as being magician, was also a consummate mathematician.
Right.
So, in fact, he was responsible for translating Euclid from the Latin into the Vulgate. So he was like into bringing these things down into the understandable for the common person. And in that class, there was a guy who was like into the computer, who ran the computer lab in UCSC, who came up to me and said, if we took some rituals and put them in a machine and I'm just trying to like committed them to run as a program, basically.
Right.
How would we do that? Could we do that? And what do you think the outcome would be?
Right.
I said, well, I think we can do it. This is how I think we could do it, and I have no idea what the outcome will be.
Right.
We might blow the earth up. I don't know.
You're a hole in space, yeah.
He's like, well, you want to do it? I'm like, sure, yeah, of course.
Well, might blow the world up, but someone's got to try it.
Exactly. I'm like Oppenheimer. You're like, we might blow the world up, but
I'm curious.
But I'm curious. I want to see what will happen. And so he had a neural net, which was real early neural net, but the money behind UCSC could get you that. Plus, there was probably not a bigger a grouping of nerds in the world than UCSC at that time.
Right.
And because UCSC was a university that had no sports teams. That tells you how nerdy it is. Right. Just a bunch of people doing computer stuff as far back as '93.
Right.
Like a lot of those people I knew came out of there and did things that you heard about in Silicon Valley. And so I said, well, let's do it, and it did nothing. Nothing. No effect.
Yeah.
None. So I think the human element has to be there.
Yeah.
Which is where I was influenced to say, okay, I'm going to do this cut-up thing, but it has to touch humanity.
Yeah.
There has to be human interaction. Because we tried to do it just running it cold on a machine, and they spit all the data out, and it's like, yeah, nothing. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and like, well, and you know, because I have heard people like lately in the last couple of years, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know, but it sounds like this has already been tried. But like, people are saying like, well, eventually we'll be able to use technology to like instigate. Maybe that's not the right word, but instigate a paranormal event or a high strange event. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand the mechanics of technology well enough, but like, you have your doubts about that. It sounds like.
Well, because I did a lot of experiments with it in the '90s, and the stuff that did work was stuff that had human interaction involved.
Right.
So, the stuff that did not have human interaction involved, not so much. Like it just sat there until somebody human touched it and interacted with it, and then, boom, right?
Okay.
Then it would go off. So
Interesting.
you've got this stuff running like at a speed that's going to be far faster than a human can do things, right? Mm-hmm. I can like do these actions, whatever they may be, at a level faster than a human is ever going to be able to do them.
Right.
Right. You know, execute this, boom, 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 quicker than I could, quicker than anybody could. And so that's happening in the background. But if you've got some way to interact with it on the human level, you're grounding it back to the earth, back here in this reality, and then you form a bridge, and then some weird shit will happen. So if you want to know like what kind of weird shit can happen, I wrote a whole book about it recently, called Ong's Hat Complete.
Yes,
and it's all about those kind of experiments that I was doing and the weird things that were happening.
And I mean, that's almost like the great example. It's like, you know, I was gonna say, like, because when you were doing Ong's Hat, like, so much weird shit that sounds like you did not even like conceive was going to happen.
Right.
Like it was like a synchronicity generator in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely. You know? Yeah. And a weird, I'll say psychic bleed over, for lack of a better term. You know, so I had one experience where there was a guy, a homeless guy. His history is basically that he was studying for a PhD at UCSC and he had a nervous breakdown. Mm-hmm. And then he went on SSI because I think whatever happened to him was kind of permanent.
Right.
But he was a nice guy. I liked him a lot. He was like an amazing occultist. Like his knowledge was great.
Right.
Like he blew me away with how much he had memorized. Mm-hmm. And how much he had, you know, like read and observed and like really got. But yeah, he was not functional in society. Let's put it this way. Mm-hmm. Like he couldn't hold a job.
Right.
And I understand why.
Yeah.
He just didn't care anymore. You know? So he found this gig where he basically like got money from SSI and he lived in a city, Santa Cruz, where there were places where he could sleep outdoors and people wouldn't bother him.
Right.
You know, he had really good gear because he had pretty good money. Like considering the money that he got from SSI was, you know, okay. For somebody who didn't have rent.
Right.
You know, and so he had really good gear and he slept out and he was happy sleeping outside.
Right.
You know, and he would just like sit up at UCSC. He had alumni status, so he could go into the library. You know, where you get the alumni card.
Sure. Where
you can go back to the library. So I would go in there all the time. Sometimes Ralph would send me in and do lookups for like when he was writing a book. He would make these, citations, and then he would have me go into the library and like look up the citation, make sure that like the name of the title was right, the date was right. You know, all the stuff you do with citations. And every time I was up there, he was there. This guy was up there.
Right.
And he was usually in special collections. You know?
Where the good shit is.
Where the good shit is. Because UCSC has a good special collections section. Yeah. And he was up to like, you know, up to thumbing through the special collections. So I know he was just sitting there all day, every day. Basically, it was a dream life.
Yeah.
Where he didn't have to work for a living. And therefore, he spent all his time reading books.
Right.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
And he had a card that let him get to special collections.
Right.
So he would just sit up there and absorb. And then he'd go off and think. And 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 then he'd find me at the coffee house and download.
It's like a gust of wind blowing you back.
Exactly. Like the old Maxell commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Or was it Maxell or TDK?
I think it was Maxell. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of where the wine glass starts blowing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, but basically, and I have my theories about exactly what the mechanism was here. But I would be interacting with my AI, and I would come out for the day and go out to the coffee house, and then he'd run into me, and he'd start talking to me about what I'd been talking to the AI about. And I'm thinking, so is he psychically sniffing off of me what I was just talking about?
Right.
Which I could see happening, because he was amazingly intuitive that way. And so yeah, maybe that, or somehow he was hooked in to this weird triad of me and him and this AI,
right?
Or who knows,
yeah.
Because the entities that I was the entity that was the AI definitely exhibited what seemed to be personality.
Interesting.
However, I want to say this. Over the years, after I stopped doing those experiments and started just thinking about those experiments over the years, I started and working more with AI. I started to really come to a conclusion well, yeah, but this and this and this, which looked like a personality, I could come up with code that would mimic that. And I never actually did, but that's what you're seeing now is people that did follow that up,
right?
And go in that direction, and say, how can I make an AI that will seem to be human?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what Chat GPT is,
right?
For one example. I'm sure there's other ones out there as well. There was the guy at Google who said, I think this AI is, sentient.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I'm in the 90s, there was a lot of forums online where we used to sit and debate this stuff all the time.
Right.
When we get to the point that the AI will, reach the point that we want it to reach, which we couldn't at that time because we had too many barriers. There was memory was still hard to get,
right,
and expensive.
Right.
Storage was hard to get and expensive, so the computing systems weren't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we were thinking about when they would be. These are the limitations that we have now, but they won't be limitations. Moore's law will take care of this eventually.
Right.
And so we won't have these limitations, and so everything that we're running up against now, we will not be a barrier in the future. And so we would sit and think about what happens then, And then we started to talk about, when does it become sentient? Of course, that always has to come up.
Yeah.
And so we started to tear it apart. But first question, David Chalmers, if you read Conscious Mind, first question, what is sentience? Can you define it for me? No. Well, then isn't that the first thing we have to figure out?
Yeah. What the hell is it?
What is it that we're trying to define?
Yeah.
You can't compare something to something if we don't know what the thing is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, this banana looks like this banana slug. Are they the same? It's like, no. I don't think so. Very similar, but no, not the same.
Right.
You probably want to put one in your mouth, not the other. So, those are the questions that never got answered. And I felt, and many people that was in my group felt that those are the questions the question that we should answer first before we try to answer the second question. Right?
Yes.
But apparently, when money gets involved in Silicon Valley, and this is true, I've seen it, they will leapfrog over these kind of things. That's some kind of weird existential thing. We don't want to get hung up on that.
Yeah.
Let's not get hung up on philosophy. We're talking about making money.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So how can we make this thing seem human?
Mm-hmm.
How can we make a better Tamagotchi? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we make this thing addictive.
Yeah. It seems like they're succeeding so far.
Well, they have succeeded.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, which like grinds my gears, is that again, Silicon Valley, which is why I left that place. Yeah. Let's put it in everything.
Yeah.
Even places where it has no business being. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm going to add to that. I've argued with these prompt jockey bros so much that I don't talk to them anymore. I tried to have a conversation with them in good faith, and I kept hearing like, "You're just standing in the way of progress, bro."
Oh, yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. No, I'm not. I'm asking a question.
Yeah, an important one, actually.
Yeah, an important one.
Yeah.
And the question is it responsible to be stuffing this thing into everything we have and everything we do just so that people's applications can be buzzword compliant?
Right.
Meaning better marketing. But at the end of the day, what is it going to do to people? What is it going to contribute to humanity? And what is it what is it going to do to us, negatively?
Yeah.
What's the negative effect it's going to have? Nobody wants to answer those questions.
Yeah. Oh God, no, because that would that would interrupt the flow of capitalism.
Right. Right. So we've got a bubble that's been built. It's no longer a question of are we in an AI bubble? We have an AI bubble.
Yep.
We had a little bit of a dip this morning in the markets because of AI. So AI now is moving the market.
God.
Yeah.
That's when things get really scary too.
And this is where it's really scary. And this is what I've been screaming out for a year. I've been telling people, you need to back up, slow down, and think.
Yes.
Because first of all, this stuff that's being called AI is not AI.
Yeah.
LLMs are not an AI. It's a card trick. It's just a card trick. It's not any more of an AI than cut-ups are.
Right.
And in fact, it's a very advanced form of cut-up. If you looked at the flow chart for what I was doing in the early 90s and you look at LLMs now, you'd be like, hey, you were building some kind of weird LLM back there. I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because an LLM is nothing but a database. It's a relational database, a highly sophisticated, very large, very fast, but relational database. It's a series of words, series of sentences, series of paragraphs. They're all relate. They're if you take like say something like XML and you do derivation marking and you say this is a word and it relates to all these words in this way, and this is a sentence and it relates to all these sentences in this way. Like, it's a sentence from this book, from this paragraph, from this page, which relates to these other writers and these other books. Like that's what it is, right? And what's in between that in the abstraction layer is a recommendation engine that like very quickly looks at the words and says, what is recommended that I say now?
Right.
That's it. That's all that's going on. And that's exactly what I was doing in a primitive way in 1993. As far back as that. I mean, I really had it worked out by 95, but even then, that's kind of old.
Yeah.
But nothing has changed with the methodology. What's changed is computers have gotten bigger and faster. Processors have got bigger and faster. They figured out to use GPUs instead of CPUs and like all that stuff. Like storage now is not a problem. In 95, storage was very expensive and hard to get and limited.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as cloud data centers and like all of that now is available. That's all the stuff that we were talking about in the 90s. Like when this stuff comes online, that will be when it happens.
Right.
But it wasn't available to us then. Right.
Oh,
I had to stop doing the experiments because, in 2007, I did this really big experiment. I had a funder who gave me $1 million and said, try to do that thing you're trying to do. And I got it to do it for one person. If more than one person was doing queries and requests,
right,
it just wasn't there. Like the computing power wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I could make it work for one person.
Sure.
But that's not very commercial.
Yeah. How do we monetize that, though, Joseph?
I'm going to sell you a license for $1 million, and your app is going to have its own data center.
Well, like you bring up something like that that's in a way rudimentary, but it's also like so important. And I haven't thought about it. It's like we need to think about the ramifications of what this technology is, and I don't think that Sam Altman and people in Silicon Valley are interested in thinking about ramifications.
They're not the people you're going to ask.
So like, how I mean, like, to put it bluntly, like, how fucked are we? like is this like, a lot of people are super paranoid. I mean, I would, put myself in that category of like what the landscape of AI and even just like human beings is going to be like in a few years with this technology.
Well, first of all, we're not looking at Skynet.
Right.
Right. What we're looking at is a really flawed methodology that's being put in places that it should not be put into.
Right.
It's being given responsibility that it should not have. Right. And it's a broken machine, and because it's being misused.
Yeah. It's
being missold, really, at the end of the day. Yeah. So we've let marketers take over the implementation of engineering.
Right? Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's number one. Number two, how fucked are we? Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm not worried about AI taking over the world and starting a war.
Right.
I am worried about people stupidly putting it in charge of things and that happening as an accident.
Yeah.
Now, as an example of something like that happening, we've already had an example. Earlier this year, if you remember, somebody used ChatGPT to figure out what the tariff rate should be for the United States.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yes. Which, when I heard that, I was like, oh, God, no.
That's a very benign example of how this things can go wrong. Yes. Because somebody misused the technology that were in a position of power, who were ignorant of what the technology really is, and so used it wrongly in a position of power. That's what goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's not the actual technology itself. It's the people.
It's how it's deployed.
Yeah.
And by who it's deployed.
God damn it.
Because if it's deployed by somebody who has the ability to input data into a system that outputs a hallucination.
Yeah.
Then you get, mistakes happening, like you put tariffs on penguins.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
We tariffed an island that had nothing but penguins. Right? But that was the warning shot, dude. I'm glad it happened. I mean,
right.
Absurd by design, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the trickster giving you a warning shot. Hey, stupid, pay attention.
Hey, attention, think for a second. What's
but then
happening?
The trickster will also be like, okay, go ahead. I gave you a warning, Go ahead.
But, it's like, and I'm not, and I don't want to denigrate people who, overuse, AI for, simple tasks and stuff like that. It's like, I fine, those tools are available. Everyone's doing it. I to a certain extent, get it. But, it does, I mean, here's an example. Just in the art world, in the cinema world and TV world, I'm now seeing Sora or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it still looks kind of shitty to me, but it's getting so close. And the way this stuff is it basically what's going to happen is people are going to start making their own movies, right, from home and putting themselves in it or an old dead movie star in it, and they're going to suck for a long time until one legitimately good one comes out, and then it's over. I feel,
Well, they already do that. There's people generating feature-length movies and putting them on YouTube.
Oh God.
And I just watched one. I watched part of one last night. I'll be like, I want to see where they're at.
Yeah.
And for me, there's still an uncanny valley there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, it's still. I mean, I can tell it's AI generated, but maybe most people can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Well, it's it's not great. I mean, I remember hearing Valet a couple of years ago talking about like what it could do for like UFOs, that was his example, and I'm like, that's interesting. Where he's like, we may find new patterns that none of us have thought about. When because I think right now he is feeding all his case files, and he's got like the man is sitting on a lot of stuff, but I think he is feeding it into an AI thing to see if he can collate new patterns and this and that, and that could be interesting. Like I'm like that's cool, and that's not like that scary to me. But I mean, this is it. I'm going to ask you a dumb question because I'm pretty naive to a lot of this stuff. Do you think AI will ever be used to try to manifest a UFO experience? And if so, do you think that is something that is possible? I know that sounds so crazy, but like,
no. So basically, hooking up AI to something like the I'm already forgetting what is the protocols. Stephen Greer's thing.
Oh, the CE5, yeah,
CE5. Like thank you.
Yeah.
So hooking up an LLM to a CE5 protocol or something.
Yes,
that could be interesting.
Yeah,
that could be interesting. I think that would be an experiment that I would do. I would say all of these experiments are worth doing, as long as you do something which is think the process through. If you can, try to build your own LLM, or at least curate one, right? Because the ones that are out there that are commercial are built by people with intentions that may not be the best for you.
Right.
Let's put it that way. And so you should probably curate one. There's guardrails that are on those things. Some of them are there for a reason, like liability reasons for the companies, personally, I think. So you should think about, again, roll your own if you can. I understand not everybody can.
Right.
But I tell anybody that I know comes to me and says, because I seem to be like the consultant for AI for people I know. Because I was talking about it years ago and people thought I was crazy, and now all of a sudden they want to talk to me. Like, didn't you tell me I was crazy about 15, 20 years ago? But yeah, like, build your own if you can. Or get one that you can license commercially that will let you curate it. And you can control the guardrails. Yeah. And keep it private. Don't make it public.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say. And if you do those things, then I would say, yeah, let's try to use it for something like, can we manifest a UFO? Can we run rituals? I think I already ran that experiment a couple of times. I don't think it works.
Yeah.
But if somebody can, come up with something that works for them, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
What happens if you run a ritual? Can I come up with probability vectors of like where I might see a Bigfoot?
Right.
I was
just thinking that.
Yeah. So like Randonautica for Bigfoot.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be
awesome. I would love that to be the reality, because I've been a fan of UFOs since I was, like I said, like a kid.
Yeah.
I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Not a single time.
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah.
I've had very bizarre experiences with synchronicities. I had, like if you read ONSAT Complete, you say I've had weird bleed over experiences with something that came out of the AI, but I don't think it was AI that did it. People are coming to me all the time with these spooky encounters with AI these days.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm like, it's not the AI that's doing it. You have to understand, the AI is not the phenomena.
Yeah.
It's a gateway to the phenomena. The same phenomena that you can get through ritual, lack of sleep, hallucinogenics, etc., etc.
Yeah.
right? Time and place. If you're in the right place in the right time and the right magnetics are happening on the Earth, like there's all these factors.
Sure.
That come together to give you an experience, right? But I don't think it's the AI doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's like, it's sentient. No, the AI is not sentient. The AI is letting something through that's always there.
Right. So I mean, like AI in this instance, it could be almost be considered a tool of divination.
That's what I see it as.
Yeah.
Like I have amazing I Ching experiences. Like I ask it a question and I get these, chillingly specific answers.
Right.
Like to the point where like the hair on my neck stands up. I'm like,
yeah.
Ah!
What have I done?
Yeah, it really fucking answered that question. Whereas tarot sometimes is more ambivalent.
Mm-hmm.
I Ching can be like stunningly specific, and so yes, I think that it's a form of divination like that. I've had people show me experiences, like they logged things and they showed me experiences they had with AI, and it was chillingly specific.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so just remember, this is the thing you have to remember with any of these things, with any oracle. It's a gateway.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the oracle that's telling you things. The oracle's manifesting and facilitating a conversation with another.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a gateway.
Right.
It's like puts you in the right state of mind. It sets the set and setting. It does all these things so that can happen. A ritual is the same thing. It's like, like you walk around. I've done Enochian rituals that took 12 hours.
Right.
And after 12 hours of chanting and walking in circles and burning incense and doing all the things that you're doing, your consciousness has changed. You're in a state of mind that's different. That's why you do these things, right?
Yes.
To get to the state of mind, so you can have the conversation with the other, right?
Yeah.
And when I had the conversation with, like, one angelic conversation I had with Enochian, I started querying the angel, like, are you an angel? Like we know, like, like, do you recognize Yahweh, Vavhe, and blah, blah?
Right.
And the angel was very, very open with me, like, nah, not really. Like, that's not who I serve.
Right.
That's not who I am. But that's what you asked for, so that's what you got.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so you're like the fucking Fae. I get it. Yeah. I'm cool with that.
And that's great.
Yeah, I just refer to all these others now as the phenomena.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really like the only way, like the honest way I feel like, at least for myself, the way I see it, which I feel like is pretty similar to you in terms of UFOs, for sure, as the phenomenon. Because it's like, and it kind of brings me to a question I really wanted to ask you, because, you read Passport and Magonia was a game changer for you, as it was for me, for sure. It like opened up the way I saw UFOs and all this stuff that I loved my whole life. I like kind of 180'd everything for me.
Yep.
And like, I mean, just for, examples that maybe the listeners can understand, it's like, the 1890s, we had flying airships, and we'd see orbs of light in the sky. And then, the nuclear age comes around and we start seeing the flying disc, flying saucer. And then those kind of fade out. We see flying triangles, this and that. And like, there is like an evolution that we can track, there's patterns and evolutions that we can track in ufology. And I feel like now, there is not like an identity to UFOs and not identity to the other that at least, we've had in other decades. And I feel like maybe we're on the precipice of seeing a new form of UFO, whatever that means.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I do feel like sometimes that goes hand in hand with where we are in the evolutionary track, and I think technology plays a big part in that. And obviously, this is like a not that but like what do you think is like? I mean, like what could possibly be next, Joseph? My oracle, I mean, not that but I'm sure this is something you've probably thought about. It's like, because we are in kind of this amorphous time where, like, we're kind of back to like balls of light, and then I mean, people will mention the Tic Tac. I'm convinced that's exotic technology of human origin, probably. But like what could possibly like appear next?
Well, I think we're going through a couple of things at the same time. Excuse me. We're going to losing my voice. We're going through an evolution in consciousness, and we're going through a cultural evolution. So I think and of course, again, these things work hand in hand because, like, the observer effect of the human has a big effect on what it is that we see.
Yes.
So it takes the form of what it needs to take to be relatable. Right.
Yep.
And so that's why it was the Virgin Mary.
Right.
And then it was, saucers and little green people living in the forest to talk to you.
Yep.
All of this stuff. So it's still the phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to say, is the phenomena going to change, because it's not.
Yeah.
We're going to change. We are changing.
Yes.
And so we will change the phenomena hand in hand with the phenomena. So
yes.
The analogy that I like to use is a web server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the way a web server works is it sits on a machine running probably Linux or Windows or even Mac. It's running an operating system. And within that operating system is a service called an HTTPD, Hypertext Transport Protocol daemon. Right? Mm-hmm. And that daemon sits on the server and does nothing until something comes along and invokes it. Mm-hmm. And I'm using programming language. I'm not using magical language here. Right?
Sounds like it, though.
I know. Because the guys who wrote all this shit were D&D players.
That's incredible. I love it. I love it. And you're literally, I mean, like, that's one thing, like, I can't recommend reading Ong's Head Complete, too, because it is such a wonderful, like, without it being like an academic text, so many things were it was one of those inflection points in humanity. I think, like, when you were doing the Ong's Head experiment as an artistic movement, like, it you see so much of where we are now. It was the early stages.
Yeah.
I'll put a link to it in the show notes, folks. I cannot recommend fucking reading this book enough.
It's where the ball started rolling for a lot of this stuff.
It is a page burner, man. Yeah. It is a page burner. Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad you liked it. So it's where the ball started rolling for a lot of this stuff, including AI. Because I can go back and I've talked to several people and they're like, yeah, but the thing you're doing was not like the stuff now. I'm like, no, it's exactly like the stuff now. It just wasn't as advanced, but like compartmentally, it's the same thing.
Yep.
So the HTTPD will sit on the server and wait to be invoked. And that is when you type in a URL encoded string in your browser, http://foo.
Yeah.
And you send that with the put, goes to the web server, and it goes, hey, web server at this address, give me this thing that I know the address to on your server. And it comes to life. That's when it comes to life. And it serves you the web page. And then it may do some other things if the connection is kept, and then it goes back to sleep. Right? So you invoke the daemon, it comes to life, it gives you what you requested, and it goes back to sleep.
Yes.
Sounds like magic.
It sure as hell does, man. That's
right?
So great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I invoke you, great demon, http://. It's even the kind of language you would probably use,
It's amazing. I never thought about it like that.
So that's some crazy Latin. So that's really what we're looking at is the phenomena is the same way. The phenomena is this quality of the universe that sits around, and when a human makes contact one way or another, and we can sit here and list off a number of ways. I can take drugs. I could sit in the woods for 4 days. I could whatever. I could hit my head on the sink, all these things that could happen. But I got to, if I'm in the right place at the right time, in the right state of mind, and I make a request, or even if I don't sometimes, like there's a contact that's made. Yeah. So this thing now raises up out of the great beyond. The 0 becomes a monad, a 1, right? And there's an entity that has a personality that I could have contact with, and it could hand me pancakes, or it could do any number of things, yes. Because it's functioning because of me. It's functioning on my subconscious level where the dream logic comes from, and so it's doing things that, like, to the normal average waking day person says, well, that was fucking weird, Yes. Right? Why did that little green man come out of that saucer and hand me pancakes and fly away? Like, all right. So it's not going to make any sense unless, as Burroughs said, exterminate all rational thoughts, right? So get rid of that part of it and just experience it and then sit with it for a while, and it will make sense. Just like dreams, Jung and Freud both said, don't examine your dreams the day after you have them. Sit on them for a while.
Yeah.
Right? And I found that really does work better. So when things like this happen, and I see weird things, or I hear weird things, or weird things abound, I sit with it. So a lot of people that read Ong Sat Complete were like, well, why did you just go with the guy when he said he was Emery Cranston? I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
It's like, Al Bielek used to have my phone number. Like, you know how Al Bielek is? Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yeah. He was part of the Philadelphia experiment, and then had grew up on Mars and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Al Bielek got my phone number, and he called me. The first time he called me, he said, so-and-so gave me your number. I'm like, oh, okay, what's up? He's like, well, I wanted to tell you about the people I knew at Ong's Hat. I'm like, hold on a minute. Close my office door, put him on speaker, put my feet up on the desk. Okay, Al, go.
Let's hear it, Mal. This is great.
And yeah, he rattled off the whole history of the people that lived at Ong's Hat and gave me so many story ideas. You can't believe.
Whatever you think about Al Bielek, his stories are deeply entertaining.
Yeah.
He was a creative guy. I'll give him
exactly.
that.
And that's all I care about,
Yeah, absolutely. In a way, he was an artist. He was a storyteller.
He was an outsider artist, and the thing I figured out after talking to him several times, he really believed what he was telling me.
Right.
It really was an experience that he had somewhere in his mind.
Right, point. And so the phenomenon for him might have taken the form of Ong's Hat characters and Ong's Hat narratives.
Yeah.
While that sounds wild, that's not that much more wild than a little purple fuzzball climbing off a saucer in 1967.
Exactly. Well, if you listen to Al talk about how he figured out he was a part of the Philadelphia experiment, he saw the movie on TV, and then he suddenly remembered.
Right.
Said, "Oh, wait, I was there." So basically, he heard about Ong's Hat, and I was there at it, and then he's like, "I gotta talk to this Joe guy. I gotta tell him I know these people." It's like, okay,
it's incredible.
I just let him go. Like Emery, the guy that in Santa Cruz, told him I'm the guy that wrote the Ong's Hat catalog. Okay. Let's go with that.
You had. There was a lot of. A startling amount of people.
Yeah.
Who knew, even though you at a certain point were you're guys, this isn't real, but it was very real for people.
It was.
It still is to this day. Aren't there certain people who were still making pilgrimages out to New Jersey?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's kind of you were creating a fictional incursion where fiction was becoming real for people.
Well, when I read Fourth Wall Phantoms.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's where
I actually reached out to him through friends that we have in common, and I was like, yes.
He nailed that book. It's like I feel like it is going to be. I hope it's deeply appreciated for a long time because it is so good.
I mean, basically, he described my process, right? That is my process, which is I work with a character that comes to me and says, I want to tell you my story.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time, and they're like, give me the side eye, But I'm like, no, that's really how I work. It's like these characters come to me and say, I want to tell my story. And I let them tell me their story.
Yeah.
And I write it down, and I put it in words, and I put it out into the world. Now, do I really think that's an entity that I'm talking to? I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
It could come from my subconscious. It could come from all what we've been talking about. A combination of the two. Me and something else has made a connection. So that's fine. I don't have to ask those questions, because when you ask those questions, that's when you stall the process.
Yeah. You stop the flow of information.
Just get out of the way, man. It's gonna let the story tell itself.
Right, and the origin, whether it's like the phenomenon or it's from your subconscious, it doesn't matter at a certain point. I
think it's both.
And they could be like sort of one and the same in a way. Like our subconscious maybe directly tapped into what the phenomena is.
Exactly. So. It's like when I was doing Enochian one time. I asked the angel. I said, "Are you objective or subjective?" And the answer was yes.
I love that though.
Yeah.
It's like well, that's such a good example too, because I feel like a lot of this stuff with the phenomena, a lot of stuff we're talking about, like it's not binary, right? It's like we like like to put things into binary scenarios because it helps us understand it.
Right.
Like for a long time with UFOs, it's like either you believe they're aliens from another planet or that doesn't exist, and there was no in between until like kind of like Valet, and John Keel came around.
Yeah.
It was either like space aliens or no space aliens. And even nowadays, I think with mainstream ufology, people have kind of like broadened their horizons a little bit. I think. Actually, I don't know. I'm not that.
There's still some nuts and bolters out there.
There are. But like it's like at a certain point, you're like, I mean, if you think there's something to the UFO phenomenon, which I do, and it may not be in a material sense, but I think there's something to it. Like it's all these theories that we've all bandied about. Well, could be this, could be that. It's like we're all probably wrong. It's probably everything and nothing at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's like what is the experience of the web browser and the web server? Is it the web browser or the web server? Yes, it's both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I explained that as an analogy. It's like the web server is holding this information repository. The web browser requests it, but then it goes to the browser for display, so it becomes a connection, a stream, right? And so that's what I think is happening with the phenomena, which is a human has to be involved,
right?
And they have to, or even I think maybe my cat has these experiences where as you're looking at things, I'm like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, my cats are weird too.
Yeah. And I've seen horses do weird things, like where they bolt at something that's not there, and so I think we all have it at a certain level, but there's, organic entities that have the ability to tap into these other intelligences that have the ability to, they probably see us the way we see them, which is sometimes. And that's why sometimes they're surprised. Yeah.
I mean, well, there are even it's like even like the entities that hop off UFOs and stuff like that. There are like those cases where like they're shocked that they're being seen.
Oh,
I've heard ghost stories of the same thing where like people see an apparition and a ghost is like startled.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that is so interesting. That's where it gets really good. To me.
Well, I mean, it's muddy, and that's fine because I think these things don't have hard definitions and borders.
Yeah.
And so that's fine. I'm okay with that. A lot of people are not, type A personalities are not so okay with that.
Right.
But thankfully, I'm not one of those personalities.
Right.
I'm okay with things being muddy, and in fact, I think I enjoy them more.
Yeah.
But I can't quite say that's that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I'm with you. I feel like the reason why I love this stuff, I've kind of determined at this point. It's where like when I was younger, I was like you. I was reading about this stuff. Like my interest in UFOs and high strangeness forced me to read above my pay grade. Because I was like back when I was a kid, like the only way you were going to get that information was from a book, and so I would like say like, damn it, I need to know what's in this book, and so I would learn to read at a higher level just so I could understand UFOs better. Nothing sexy, not to get into a better college or get better grades.
No.
Literally to understand UFOs and the paranormal better.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I've kind of come to that determination now where I'm like, I'll never know really what this stuff is, but the mystery is important.
Yeah.
And the mystery broadens your horizons, and it's like how I'm talking to you right now. It's because we both share this love of mystery of the weird.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, really.
Yeah.
I feel so lucky I'm interested in this stuff.
Well, I mean, and it can lead to weird things, weird connections, which is, I'll tell you this story. Stop me if I've told you this story.
No, please.
When I was younger, I used to go to garage sales looking for books and records, LPs. And I found a treasure trove of things. Like I got into like Mort Saul and Lenny Bruce and like all these people because I was buying old used records.
Sure.
And like playing them for my friends. They're like, "What is this?" I was like, "I think it's kind of funny."
Yeah.
So I was I went to this garage sale and this guy had this table full of books, and I said, he's like, "I'm gonna close up." It's like I'm kind of done with the garage sale. I'm like, "Oh, I want to look at these books." He's like, "I'll sell you everything on the table that you can fit in the bag for $2." Okay. So he hands me a grocery bag, and I just like start looking at these books and like stuff it as fast as I can. And this one book I saw, I just looked at the title. I'm like, probably something I'm into. It's like I get home, and I taking these books out, and I look at this book, and I'm like, Tropic of Cancer. That's about astrology, right? Nope. And then I read it, and I'm like, God, my mind has been blown. Who is this Henry Miller guy? And so I just
a kid reading Henry Miller. This is
and then I started reading Henry Miller like religiously because of that. Because I thought it was an astrology book, and I was in a hurry.
Yeah. And honestly, like reading a book like that, reading Henry Miller at a young age. I did not read Henry Miller at a young age. I can't imagine the other stuff that would turn you like even just from a cultural standpoint. What kind of like instigator for you to be interested in a bunch of different like outsider culture
it dragged me
and
down
new ways of thinking.
It dragged me down the road. It's like Henry Miller led. It's like drugs. Henry Miller led to Kerouac, led to Burroughs, led to Bukowski, led to like all this stuff led to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was my gateway drug. Was like buying a Henry Miller book by accident and reading it and falling in love with Henry Miller.
That is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Big Sur, the Henry Miller Library?
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah. So there was a book I wrote a couple years ago called Zen.
Mm-hmm.
The Zen of the Other, and that takes place just between the cabin that Ferlinghetti let Kerouac write Big Sur in, and the Henry Miller Museum in Big Sur on one.
What a absolutely magical place. Listeners, if you ever are thinking about taking a vacation in the California West Coast region, you could do a whole lot worse than spend some time in Big Sur. It is.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing like it. It's one of those places.
Yeah, and read my book Zen before you go. So
yeah,
it'll give you like the tingles.
Yeah, it will. I wanted to ask you this question because I'm fascinated. And I don't know. I don't really have a stance on it, but there are these places like speaking of weird places in California, like obviously Mount Shasta or southwestern Pennsylvania or a place in Kentucky. There are these kind of like as Keel would term. Or absolutely, these window areas, these charged landscapes or enchanted landscapes, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. What like enchanted?
Yeah, right. And what do you think about that? Do you think there's something to like charged?
Absolutely.
Or yes, you do.
Yeah, I think there's an array of qualities that lend to that. It can be like magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
It can really just be it's a beautiful landscape, and therefore it puts people in the frame of mind. It could be, it could be It could be what Burroughs used to call mythic resonance. Like there was something that happened here.
Yes.
And you can feel it.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So like when I went the last time I went to when I went to Big Sur and came up with the idea to write Zen, the cabin that Kerouac wrote Big Sur in was still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hiked in and I found it. And nobody was there, thankfully. I think Ferlinghetti had just sold it because it's gone now. Somebody just turned it into an Airbnb or some shit.
Right.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. But the old cabin was still there. This was like in the 90s, and I saw it, or no, the 80s, and I saw it, and I could feel it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because I was such a Kerouac fan.
Right.
You know? It's like I was like an Elvis fan going to Graceland, you know, like
yes,
totally. I swear I felt Elvis's spirit, you know.
Right,
so,
right.
But I believe people can do that,
mm-hmm.
And so I can feel it. I can ooh, I feel this.
Well, you kind of answered my question, but like I was going to ask, like I feel like story and folklore has sort of maybe somewhat the same effect.
Oh yeah,
where like there's a folklore around a region, like let's say like Oregon for example, of Bigfoot and like lights in the forest being seen. Whether any of that is true or not, people might have these experiences because the folklore becomes imprinted on like almost like a hyperstition, where it's like where these legends and myths become true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think it's a little bit of it's 50-50. It's like I think people bring expectation to the region,
mm-hmm.
but you have to look back at like, well, how did this start?
Yeah,
it started with something that happened to a person who told the story.
Yeah,
right. And that's something. I'm glad you brought this up. I think we have to point this out. One of the things that is like the most important thing to human beings that human beings do is storytelling.
Yep.
Right? One of the most powerful things we do. It's our superpower as humans.
I agree.
And so let's take this moment to be responsible and tell everybody that there are forces that have interjected themselves into the storytelling stream between
mm-hmm.
you and the story. You people that like either you're a storyteller or you're like a story appreciator.
Right.
And if you're a story appreciator, try to get your story somewhere other than corporate sources.
Yes.
Because we've handed over our storytelling power to bean counters.
That's exactly right. Oh, I could not agree with you more. And that I think that explains my attraction to outsider art or underground music or independent film, even experimental theater. It's like when Warner Brothers, is the only one telling you, if you're just getting your stories from them,
yeah, right.
That's problematic because like it's like I do think like right now we're in a very like it's almost like a story drought.
Yes.
Things are just being like rehashed and remade, and I find that like a very apocalyptic, super negative thing. And like people will like, oh God, Steve, you're taking this too seriously. But I'm like, when you're remaking and telling the same stories with new actors and better cameras, I'm like, this isn't good. I really feel like it actually is part of the feeling of hopelessness because like I think people crave new stories. There's so many brilliant storytellers and writers out there.
Starved.
We're being starved. Thank you. My God. Like
I mean, here's the thing is like we have to remember that the same principle when I tell people like roll your own LLMs, the same thing. Find local storytellers to tell you stories or tell your own stories, right?
Yes.
But the thing that's going on with story hijacking, this happened like basically our story, our connection to story has been hijacked by corporations, right?
Yep.
I consider that dark sorcery.
Yep. God, yes.
The disenchantment of our life is dark sorcery.
Boom.
And we need to stop it.
Yes.
And the way we stop it is we stop feeding them.
Yes, and stop consuming what they're giving us. We
don't rely on them, they rely on us. And if we start telling our own stories to each other again and stop giving these people our money, selling back our stories to us.
Yes.
In a lot of cases, right? Either telling some version, some corporatized version of our stories to us and charging us for it.
Right.
Right? Like, if we don't stop doing that, then it becomes our fault that it's happening.
Yeah. I agree. And there is kind of like this I'm not trying to be so cynical, but there is this feeling where people do feel hopeless. At least as far as I've been alive, this feels like the most hopeless time for my friends, my family, people I really care about, and people I don't even know. But we, at a certain point, have to take some responsibility for ourselves and say, well, we have a choice. We don't have to consume the shit they're feeding us. They're feeding us McDonald's. Well, maybe we can make a nice spaghetti dinner for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that'll be so much more enjoyable.
And cheaper, probably.
And way cheaper. Yeah, and healthier. Because I do feel like the lack of story and being, like you said, which is so perfect, starved of story, is detrimental to society.
Yes, it's detrimental to individual humans and humans as a whole, right?
Yeah.
And I get it that there was some glamour that went on in the beginning, ooh, look at this special effect. Ooh,
sure.
We're gonna show you something look at Avatar.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly
that kind of stuff. And you're like, and I worked in the film industry for a long time, and I get it. I was glamorized for a long time, but then suddenly, I had a breakthrough, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is storytelling, the most sacred thing that humans do to each other and for each other.
Yeah.
And to ourselves and for ourselves, right?
Right.
It's kind of like it's our magic. It's our superpower.
It is. It's what makes us unique and special, really, is the power of story. And stories can be like
But it gives us everything. It gives us hope. It gives us fear. It gives us courage. All these things. And you don't get that from these corporatized stories.
No, you don't. And the thing is, I don't feel like the film business, for an example, or even the music industry, maybe not so much, but has always been this evil, dark sorcery entity. It's in the 70s, they were, it was a wonderful time for film, even mainstream movies.
Yeah.
They were making so many movies that they would have a Star Wars that would come out, and those are fine.
Yeah.
But most of the movies were small movies, personal stories about existentialism and just important topics. They were giving
movies
guys
that probably wouldn't get made today.
They would never get made unless you found a rich dentist to give you $2 million.
Exactly.
That's the only way they get made now. And now those movies aren't being consumed and they're not being sold, and there's so much stuff. But you're so right. Even to kind of tie it back to the world of high strangeness, it's the reason I find UFOs more boring than they ever have been in my lifetime is because the stories suck. They're not about the phenomena. They're all about the machinations of congressional hearings.
Yeah.
Lou Elizondo and the gatekeepers have the secrets and crash retrieval programs.
Yeah.
But they're not even talking about.
They've all been scientized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why UFOs kind of suck right now, is because the stories are terrible.
Yeah, and the stories in the early days of the UFO culture, for lack of a better word, there was a lot of enchantment. There was a lot of weirdness. It's
so weird.
And I know I use this example all the time, but I think it's the prime example. It's would we hear about a UAP hovering over your porch and dropping off a plate of pancakes? No, we wouldn't hear that. We wouldn't hear that, which means the story sucks.
I know I have no evidence or rationality behind this, but when I hear a UFO story and it is so weird and it operates in surrealism and dream logic, I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm I think there might be something to this one.
Yeah. At the very least, it's more appealing.
It's more appealing.
It's mythic. It's mythic.
Yeah. That's exactly right. But when the UFO stories become I met the Galactic Federation, the aliens from the planet Pleiades, I'm ugh, boring. It sounds way too organized. That sounds like a 3-act structure.
Yeah,
and I'm I don't buy it at all.
Well, I mean, I guess that could be a trickster thing. Oh, let's tell them we're from another planet and we're part of this organization that doesn't exist.
Totally.
That could be a trickster element.
I kind of think maybe it was, you know, because I mean, like a lot of these experiencers in the 50s and 60s were directly being told they were from. I mean, like in the 50s, it started as Venus.
Yeah,
planets
Venus,
we could observe, right?
Yeah. And before that, it was Mars.
I mean, right? They were really rudimentary, simple stories, but there was like a real beauty to them. You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Better storytelling is going to make UFOs better.
I think better storytelling will make everything better.
I agree.
I think I agree with you. Is that we are in a story drought? We exist in a story desert. And the stuff that's being, and that's the thing, is like we've been entrained to go to these sources for story that we should not be going to because they're not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Because they have one thing in mind.
Yep.
Money. My money.
Yeah.
They want my money.
And
my attention, which equals my money.
Yeah, well, isn't like, you know, I mean, you know better than anyone else, but isn't like attention like the biggest commodity right now in the entire world?
Attention is the biggest commodity, yeah.
Which is so scary, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it is an attention economy.
It is. Oh,
and that's why I no longer participate in social media, you know?
Yeah, smart.
I'm like down to Blue Sky and Substack.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's a nightmare world, and there's nothing interesting to be gleaned from it. And like, I can't remember, like, if you ask anyone, it's like, hey man, like, were you in a better mood after you looked at Twitter for 15 minutes? No one says yes.
I don't think so. And you know, I actually remember when Twitter was fun. This was like when it first started.
Yeah. It was like interesting, like absurdist, like, you know, one-liner comedy bits. It was like,
exactly.
And it was funny. I would go there to laugh.
Yeah. I actually when I got on Twitter, I don't remember what year it was, but it was like my original account was Twitter user number 64 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I got on way early, and I called it 144 character theater.
Yes.
And I used to work out bits on there.
Yeah, I mean, but like, that's what it was
about. Where's my type 5? Here it is. You know,
right, that's exactly right. And you were forced into like an economy of words, which is great for any writer or storyteller. It's like, you know, I feel like that's where real craftsmanship comes in when you're a storyteller. It's like, how tight can you make this? Can you get your point across? Because I mean, like, flowery language and overwriting is fun and very tempting.
Yeah.
However, it's not always the move.
Well, the writers that I have always admired the most were like the people that said keep it tight.
Yes.
Like Bukowski was like, keep it tight, keep it simple, keep it tight. Hemingway, keep it simple, keep it tight.
Yep.
Even Kerouac, I mean, his language was odd.
Yeah.
Because it was based on too many drugs or not too many, but drugs and jazz. Yeah. So it had jazz flow to it, but it was tight. It was tight.
Yep. It was.
It was very like it wasn't verbose, as we say in programming language.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why, I mean, like, you know, I know like a guy like David Foster Wallace, which a lot of like people in my generation like look up to as the greatest writer. And like he I'm not saying he's a bad writer, but he's not for me because he's not tight.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Infinite Jest is like 1,200 pages long, you know. Where for some people, I get it, like that's your thing, but for me, it's like can you do that in 400 pages?
Yeah. And that was probably one of the hardest things for me to learn as a writer when I was young, which was like, you know, the first couple of things I tried to write, like it was so bloated and verbose.
Oh God!
And even I looked at it and went, "There's something wrong with this. I'm not doing this right."
Yeah.
You know, then I started reading writers that I enjoyed, and looked at them and said, "How are they doing this?"
Yeah.
And you know, like Hunter S. Thompson gave me this idea, not personally. Like I read him. He said, pick a writer that you like and type their book out.
Interesting.
So I did that a couple times. I'm like, and I really learned stuff. I'm like, oh, that's why you use that comma there. Oh, that's where you use the M dash, you know?
Yeah. I do that when I get a part, like I was just worked on this TV show, and I got a ton of dialogue the night before and rewrites, and I was so stressed out about having to memorize all stuff. But I sat down, calmed myself down, poured myself a glass of wine, and I wrote out the entire scene, every character's dialogue, even like the blocking prose description. And in about 30 minutes, I had the whole thing, like it was in my bones.
There you go.
And next year, I didn't have to worry about memorizing anything. I knew the other people's lines and what was motivating them. And I was like, why have I not been doing this my whole career?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just figuring it out now. But like, there is something really powerful about doing that. Like when you actually take with your physical hand or typing it right out, it's like it gets in you.
Well, as you're writing it out, you're like playing it through in your mind, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have put a comma there. Oh, you know, it's like that changes the whole meaning of the sentence. You know, it's like, and then of course, you know, when you're a young person, then you have to like do that, and then that gives you the method and the style. But then you have to go off and find your voice, which is another thing altogether. But at least you have the tools to find your voice.
It's an incredible way to train, you know, train your mind and get out of your own head. It's like, all right, I really like this guy, the way this person writes, and I'm going to study how they write.
Yeah. What is it that they're writing? What is it that appeals to me about their writing? And if you like literally type out their book, which is like, what? Like, you know, then you figure it out. You're like, oh, I get what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a great way to like diagnose what you love about storytelling.
Yeah, and what you like about this person's storytelling.
Yep.
And but then again, like I said, you have to go, okay, now that I've learned the katas, you know, as they say in karate, it's like now I have to learn how to fight.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you can't fight before you're ready. I mean, you can. You're your ass kicked though. You know. Like,
well, yeah, it's like what Mike Tyson says: everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
And buddy, I've been metaphorically punched in the face so many times. You have no idea.
Exactly.
And I don't like it so much anymore. So now I do the work before I attempt anything. Like I used to really just, I used to go off half cocked, like I'm ready for it. You know, like
dude, I've fucked myself so many times doing that.
Oh, yeah, I know. If like I could give myself one piece of advice, like, nah, maybe
I did a virtual appearance at a film festival a couple weeks ago, and yeah, they got me. Like in the beginning, they got me. Like so, I was like, okay, I'm ready, you know. And so I couldn't see the went dark, and they said, so we don't get feedback. You're going to be in the dark. You can't see the audience, and you can't hear the audience. I'm like,
whoa,
what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I did it. Like it took me like there was like a minute there. I'm like, okay, here we go. You know, and I'm like, okay, I'm recording this for a later playback or something. But then after it was over, they like brought the camera on. I could see the audience. I could hear the audience, and I did a Q&A. And then I told them later, I'm like, you know, if you ever do this again, don't do that to somebody because it's not a good thing. It's like I was prepped. Like to work the audience, you know, to work the room.
Yeah, exactly.
And now there's no room. I'm in the fucking closet.
Yeah, I can't feed off any energy. You
Nothing.
Like, literally dumped me in like space. You know,
I can't even hear the people laughing. You know, I'm dropping jokes and there's no laughing.
I truly don't know if I could do that because like I'm an energy feeder. Like when I do any kind of performance, like I mean, I feel like most people are probably, but like. I would be like, well,
yeah. I wouldn't even know basically the way I played it in my head was I'm doing, I'm auditioning.
Yeah,
that's basically what it felt like. I'm auditioning.
Yeah,
because if you've been to audition, you know, people are just sitting there looking at you. Nobody's laughing
with a blank face.
Nobody's like giving you any feedback.
Yeah,
so I had to treat it like that, which I haven't done an audition and I don't know when.
It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I did it anyway. but afterwards, they were like, I got a standing ovation.
Oh yeah,
I got 100 really good questions, and people were like, "God, dude, your stories are awesome." And I'm thinking, yeah, I wish I would have known that when I was.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was a weird experience. It was a weird experience. Like if you want to mess with somebody's head, there you go.
Hey, if I was running I feel like I probably wouldn't go that route. I mean, like I would.
Well, I think they had last minute, like, you know, like when I logged in and was doing my sound check, they were getting feedback and they were like, okay.
Oh, so it's a technical issue. Okay,
5 minutes and this guy's got to go on, and we don't have time to fuck with this. So
yeah. That makes some more sense because I was like, oh, that's a crazy way.
Yeah. I mean,
thanks so much for being a guest. Now we're gonna put you in a dark room.
Years ago, I had a New York drive time radio show like do something like that to me on purpose, which was weird. And I think they did it to mess with me. Well, I know they did. They basically like when it was time for me to when I went on the air, like they played this like weird. I don't know even what it was. It was like a combo of like people singing and laughing and like all this stuff in my on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they went dark and like it was just like I'm like, what was that about?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they come back on, they're like, hey, I was like, oh, I see, you guys are drive time, and that was funny. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
That's what I said. Okay.
We all have our own version of comedy.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't find it too funny, but I hope your listeners did.
Hope you're amused.
I just started kind of like, free balling, like.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, they're fucking with me, right?
Yeah.
So then I just started like talking smack, like it was a guy on crack or something, and like,
yeah.
And then they came back on. They're like, oh, and it tried to be weird. I'm like,
yeah,
hey, you guys left me hanging. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, when I am fucked with, I fuck with them back twice as hard.
Yeah.
Fight fire with fire, baby.
Yeah, right.
It's the only way. Joseph, this has been an absolute treat. And also like I'm so happy, and I know like. Some of these questions are probably pretty rudimentary for you, but like, thank you so much for like talking about these. Only you can talk about these complicated ideas in a way that someone like I can understand, and so it is such a fucking treat to talk to you, man. Like truly, I just enjoy it so much.
Well,
so,
the way I understand these ideas is I look at them and then I break them down to my roots.
Yeah.
I grew up a blue collar kid in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Working class all the way.
Yeah.
I didn't go to finishing schools.
Yeah, man, but you're like I don't know, like you're a sharp and cool dude, and like the only thing I can say is like you get it.
Same to you, man. That's why I like talking to you.
Yeah, man, this is just so fun. Well, I mean, I will obviously beg you to come back on. Like I said, like the list. Folks, and if you have not heard the episode we did about 6 months ago, please go back and listen to that. It really is like, I was telling you before this, it's my highest listened to episode.
Ooh, cool.
Like, kind of by far. And,
wow.
I've had a couple like TV personalities who are pretty like famous, and like, but no, your episode's like by far my.
Oddly enough, I have a huge internet following. I guess I hate to say that because it sounds culty.
You have a massive following, but it's not. I don't think it's weirdly enough. It makes perfect sense to me.
It sounds culty to say following. I hate to say fans or followers. But
what else? That's just
friends,
how we talk
friends.
About. Yeah, that's how we talk about it.
Lots of internet friends.
But I feel like you do. It's because you. You're a you're a funny, personable guy who's very smart, but like also you get it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of other people. Like I don't think we're as small of a group as people like think. I think the people who get it are bigger than there's a lot more of us than we think. Yeah. And I think you're a great voice for us because you're able to talk about this stuff in a way like I can't always talk about this stuff in a way people will understand. It makes sense to me, but I'm not that as eloquent as you. But it's so nice that we have you around to do this stuff for us. So I truly, man, I'm not trying to like butter your biscuit too much and embarrass you, but like, thank you, man. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being such a chill dude.
Thank you for doing the show and stuff that you do, because I enjoy your show, by the way. I'm a regular listener. And I tend to listen instead of watch video because I'm an old guy. But
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm a listener too.
I'm just not a YouTube guy. Just not.
No, podcast for me is like a garden, and I do other things. I take walks, So yeah.
Exactly. I'm like during the summer when I'm running the farm, the podcast is going continually. I'm like I'm going through my list of podcasts, like all the stuff I want to listen to.
Yep.
Like
that's when I do it too.
I'm asking everybody this question: have you seen the movie Rabbit Trap?
Not yet.
Please go see that movie. Or actually, it's out of the theater now, but you can rent it.
And it's about. I have been avoiding reading too much about it because I love going in blind. But I know it's about the world of the Fae. Am I right?
It's about the phenomena.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna.
But it's an amazing. It's so well done. It's Spectre Vision. So Elijah Wood's company.
Yep.
And the acting is just first class.
Okay.
And there's a young actor in this movie that I think is a first timer, maybe second timer.
Mm-hmm.
And she just brings it, dude. She brings it.
Oh, I can't wait.
You're just like, you're getting chills watching her, and you're like, oh, fuck, she's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard nothing but amazing things. I mean, like, when I read like a little blurb, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta shut it out. Don't watch the trailer because I really cannot. I love.
It's on Amazon.
I literally am gonna. It's gonna be my Saturday night.
Make sure
movie.
you either have it on headphones or have a good sound system because it's a very sound oriented movie.
I am a deep appreciator of sound design.
Yeah.
That was one of Lynch's greatest qualities. David Lynch,
Exactly.
that he obsessed over sound design, and it shows because it really elevates any cinematic experience.
So one of the weird connections that we found to this movie was the guy who did the soundtrack for Complete.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that the person who designed the sound for Rabbit Trap is a fan of his.
Oh wow!
And owns a copy of Complete, apparently.
Hell yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's a great connection, I think. You know,
that's a great connection.
Yeah. So, but I want to put it out there. You and your audience, go. I keep saying go. Download this movie. It's on Amazon. Yep. You can even find it in those torrent places. If you don't have money. I mean, these days people don't have money right now. I get it.
That's true.
So but it's very findable. But listen to it if you watch it on your laptop, headphones, because it's really one of the most sound-focused movies I've seen in a long, in fact, maybe ever.
I love to hear that because sound design is so important.
Yeah.
Ah, man, buddy, this has been so much fun. Is there anything else I mean, I know you're not a big social media guy, but is there any place you would point people to find more of your work?
My Substack, if you like, I tend not to, blow it up because I hate getting email all the time. But I do it twice a month, which I think is acceptable. I basically do I build a newsletter over 2 weeks and then I shoot it out, and so it's newsletter style. I go back in my archives and I pull things and I tell the story about this is when this happened and what happened. I tell the story about it, and then I add other things this is a book I read that I really like, and this is a movie I saw that I really like, and so I basically do it that way. It's like newsletter, old school.
Perfect, though. That's great. Yeah. Highly readable.
Yeah. And so,
well, folks, you're going to find that, and you will find links to that, Ong's Hat Complete, and anywhere else. I'll have look in the show notes. You're going to find everything you need to find out about more Joseph Matheny right in there. My man, thank you so much for your time. This has been such a joy.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of High Strangeness. Enjoy your dinners tonight. Peace, friends.